Once we take food, how does our body extract ingredients from it? This function is efficiently done by small intestine. The process is known as absorption. This is Gayatri. In today's video, I am going to talk about absorption of food materials in details. This is very important part of physiology of digestion. So let us learn here. Hi friends, hope you all are doing well, and today's topic is absorption in the gastrointestinal tract. We will discuss absorption in two parts. The part 2a, it will focus on absorption of monosaccharides, amino acids and lipids. In our next video, that is part 2b of absorption, we will discuss the absorption of vitamins, calcium and irons. Before going to know more about absorption process, if you have missed to watch how digestion of food materials takes place, I have given the link in my description box. Please do watch. Now comes to absorption. We know that most of the digestion process is completed in the small intestine, and the food materials are broken down into smaller parts like carbohydrates broken down into sugars, proteins into amino acids and fats into fatty acid and glycerol. Now these molecules are small enough to pass through the wall of small intestine into blood. The process by which digested food materials passes through small intestine into blood is known as absorption. And the process of absorption, it occurs via diffusion, facilitated diffusion, osmosis and by active transport. Do you know 90% of absorption of nutrients which takes place in the small intestine? In the small intestine, it is adapted for absorption to takes place. So now we will see how the small intestine it is adapted for absorbing digested nutrients. Okay, the small intestine it is a very long tube, and it gives the plenty of time not only for the digestion of food materials to take place but also for absorption to take place. It has villi, and its villus is covered with smaller projections are called the microvilli. And what is the role of microvilli? This microvilli it provides the larger surface area, and the larger surface area helps in the absorption of nutrients in faster way. Okay. And this villi it also contain the blood capillaries. These blood capillaries they help in the absorption of monosaccharides, amino acids, water, minerals, vitamins and some food materials into blood. Okay. Then from blood it taken into the liver and around the body. The villi it is also has lacteals. Then what is the role of lacteals? Lacteal it is the part of the lymphatic system and it helps in the absorption of fat. Now comes to absorption of monosaccharides. The carbohydrates are absorbed as monosaccharides. They are absorbed by two processes. One is known as the facilitated diffusion and the second one is active transport. The glucose and galactose they are absorbed by sodium dependent co-transport or by secondary active transport, whereas fructose it is absorbed by facilitated diffusion. This is the diagram and this part is very important. Okay, this is known as the epithelial cells of small intestine, which is also called the enterocytes. And the membrane of enterocyte which face towards the lumen, this one is known as the apical membrane, and the membrane which face towards the blood or the interstitial fluid is known as the basolateral membrane. So now we will see how the fructose, glucose and the galactose are transported from lumen to the epithelial of small intestine and from the epithelial of small intestine into blood. So first we will discuss about fructose. Fructose, it is transported by facilitated diffusion, and for that it requires a transporter. Do you know what is the transporter name? The transporter is glucose transporter 5, and glucose transporter 5, it is present in the apical membrane of enterocytes, which help in absorption of fructose from lumen into epithelial cells. Okay, then from epithelial cells of small intestine or enterocyte, it passes into blood by another transporter. The transporter is known as glucose transporter 2. Where it is present? It is present in the basolateral membrane of small intestine. Okay, so now comes to the absorption of glucose and galactose. Both glucose and the galactose, they are absorbed by secondary active transport mechanism. Okay, and their transport are mediated by a transporter. That transporter is known as sodium glucose transporter 1. Okay, here you can see this transporter is SGLT1. SGLT1 means sodium glucose transporter 1, and this is present in the apical membrane of enterocytes. Okay, and the glucose and galactose, they are transported by secondary active transport, which is mediated by sodium ion. Okay, so the glucose and the galactose, they are transported by SGLT1 transporter, which is present in the apical membrane of enterocytes. Okay, and for the transport of glucose and the galactose, they require sodium ion. Okay, that means they are co-transported by sodium ion. So along with the glucose and the galactose, sodium ion also transported from lumen into epithelial cells of small intestine. Now the concentration gradient of sodium in enterocytes is maintained by sodium potassium ATPase, and this sodium potassium ATPase, it is present in the basolateral membrane. Okay, it is maintained by the sodium potassium ATPase, which is present in the basolateral membrane by diffusing sodium ion from epithelial cells to the blood, and in exchange one potassium ion is entered into small intestine from blood. Now the glucose and the galactose, which is present in the epithelial cell of small intestine, they passes into blood by facilitated diffusion mediated by transporter named as glucose transporter 2. Okay, now comes to absorption of amino acids. Most of the ingested protein, they are absorbed in the intestinal epithelial cell or enterocytes as dipeptide and tripeptide forms rather than free amino acids. Now we will see how the amino acids or the dipeptides or the tripeptides are absorbed through intestinal epithelial cells. Okay, here in the diagram you can see this is the lumen and this is the enterocytes or epithelial cells of small intestine. Okay. The amino acids or the free amino acids, they are co-transported by sodium ion. Okay, you have to remember this is the first point. And the second point is that the oligopeptides or the dipeptides or the tripeptides, they are transported by or they are co-transported by hydrogen ion. Okay, or by the proton ions. Once the dipeptide or the tripeptide, they are co-transported by proton ions. Okay, then in the enterocytes there is an enzyme. The enzyme is known as the peptidase. It will break down the peptide bonds and form the free amino acids. Now the free amino acids, they diffused into blood. Okay, so here you have to remember 2 points. The dipeptides and the tripeptide, they are co-transported by which ion? hydrogen ion or proton ions, and the amino acids, they are transported by sodium ions. When the dipeptides or the tripeptides, they are transported by proton ions. In the enterocytes, they are cleaved by enzyme peptidase and form the pre-amino acid, and the pre-amino acid, it will be diffused into blood. Now the absorption of fatty acids. We know that lipids are present as a large fat globules, so they require the bile salt for the process of emulsification. By emulsification, they are broken down into their smaller parts. Now we'll see how the fatty acids are absorbed through enterocytes. So here you can see this is the intestinal lumen, and this is the epithelial cell of small intestine, which is also called the enterocytes. The fatty acids and the monoglycerides, they are emulsified. How they are emulsified? Emulsified by the bile salts. By emulsification, they form the smaller fat molecules or fat droplets, which is called the micelles. Then this micelles or the fatty acids enter the epithelial cells. Now it will be enter into the epithelial cell. When enter into the epithelial cells, they linked with each other to form the triglycerides. Triglyceride means the three molecules of fatty acid, they combine with the glycerol, they forms the triglyceride. Fatty acid enter the epithelial cell and link to form the triglyceride. Then this triglyceride, it will combine with the protein present in the Golgi body. It will combine with the protein present in the Golgi body to form chylomicrons. Then these chylomicrons enter the lacteals and are transported away from the intestine. When the chylomicron forms, then the chylomicrons enter into the lacteals, because the lacteal, it will help in the transportation of fat molecules. And from that the lacteals, what will happen? The lipid molecule, they will form the different lipoproteins like low density lipoproteins and high density lipoproteins in the liver. And the low density lipoproteins are known as the bad cholesterol, as it will transport the lipids by the bloodstream to the cells, and high density lipoproteins are known as the good cholesterol, as it will scavenge the excess lipid from bloodstream and tissue and return them to the liver. So this is all about absorption of monosaccharides, amino acids and fatty acids. So now have a look on overall process of absorption. We know that the sugars, first come to the sugar. There are the glucose and the galactose. They are co-transported or the secondary active transport by sodium ion. They enter into the epithelial cell. Then from the epithelial cell, it enters into the capillaries by the process of facilitated diffusion. So here it is co-transported by the, so here it is co-transported by a transporter. That transporter is known as the SGLT1, that is the sodium glucose transporter 1. Then it facilitated diffused by another transporter which is present in the basolateral membrane. That transporter is known as the glucose transporter 2. And the other sugars, for example fructose. Fructose, it is facilitated diffused by the transporter which is present in the apical membrane, is known as the glucose transporter 5. It is known as the glucose transporter 5 in the apical membrane. And then from the epithelial cells to the blood capillary, it is transported or facilitated diffused by another transporter, that is also known as the glucose transporter 2 into blood capillaries. Amino acids, They are transported by sodium ion as a co-transporter into epithelial cell, and from epithelial cell to the capillary by the process of diffusion. But the dipeptide and the tripeptide, they are co-transported by proton ions or the hydrogen ion into epithelial cell, then by diffusion process into blood capillaries. Now comes to lipids. In the lipids, the fatty acid, they are simply diffused into epithelial cells, then from epithelial cells into the blood vessels. But the micelles, they are simply diffused into epithelial cells, then it will form the epithelial cell, it will form the chylomicrons. Okay, how the chylomicrons are formed? When the triglyceride, it combines with the protein present in the Golgi bodies, then this chylomicron, it diffused into lacteals. Okay. Now comes to the previous year CSIR net questions. The first question, okay. The transport of fructose into enterocytes is mediated by, okay. So, transport of the fructose into enterocyte. Enterocyte means the epithelial cells of small intestine. So, it is mediated by the glucose transporter. 5 is the direct question. And the second one, the intestinal absorption of glucose is impaired by use of uvein, okay, a drug, an inhibitor of sodium potassium ATPase. Indicate the correct explanation. Okay, the sodium potassium ATPase is inhibited. So we'll see what are the correct options. You know what is the role of sodium potassium ATPase in the glucose transportation? Okay, the sodium potassium ATPase, it help in maintaining the gradient of sodium ion in enterocytes. Okay, let's see. The inhibitor has blocked the transport of sodium from intestinal lumen to epithelial cells. No, because this sodium potassium ATPase, it is present in the basolateral membrane. So it will inhibit the transport of sodium from epithelial cells to interstitial fluid, or that is the blood, not to the epithelial cells. So it's wrong. The inhibitor has blocked the transport of sodium from epithelial cells into intestinal lumen. No, it's also wrong. The inhibitor has blocked sodium transport from epithelial cells to interstitial space. Yes, it's correct, because it is present in the basolateral membrane of enterocyte. If it is inhibited, then it will block the transportation of sodium ion from epithelial cells to interstitial space or the blood. Let's see the option D. The inhibitor has blocked sodium transport from interstitial space to epithelial cells. No, it's also wrong, because it transports potassium ion from interstitial space to epithelial cells, and from epithelial cells sodium ion are transported into interstitial space. Now comes to question number 3. A diabetic patient has a high blood glucose level due to reduced entry of glucose into various peripheral tissue in addition to other causes. There is no problem of glucose absorption, however, in small intestine of these patients. The following statements are put forward to explain this observation. Okay, and which one of the above statement is incorrect? Okay, so you have to focus on this, asking about which one is incorrect option. Okay, so let's see what are the options. Option P, glucose is transported into cells of muscles by glucose transporter, which is influenced by insulin receptor activation. It's true, it's correct, because the glucose is transported in the muscle by the transporter, which is known as the glucose transporter 4, and it is mediated by insulin ion. Now comes to Q, glucose transport into the enterocyte. Okay, The glucose is transported into the enterocyte by sodium dependent glucose transporters which are not depend on insulin. Yes, the glucose are transported into the enterocytes by SGLT1 transporter, and it is mediated by the sodium ion, not the glucose ion. So it is mediated by the sodium ion. It does not depend on the insulin. So this one is also correct. Let's see the R. Glucose molecules are transported in the small intestine by facilitated diffusion. No, it is glucose and the galactose molecule are transported by secondary active transport. So this one is wrong option. Yes. Okay. The secondary active transport of glucose occurs in muscles. No. In muscles, the glucose are transported by facilitated diffusion, not by secondary active transport. So, what are the incorrect options or the incorrect statements? The incorrect statements are R and S. So, here the option D is the correct answer. Okay, then the last question. The di and tripeptides are transported in the enterocyte by peptide transporter 1 that requires. We have studied that the amino acids, they are transported by sodium ion, whereas the dipeptides and the tripeptides, they are transported to the enterocytes that requires which ion? That is the proton ions, or that is the hydrogen ion. So here the correct answer is this amino acid. This is for amino acid and this is for the di and tripeptides. Di and tripeptides. So correct answer is option C. Hope you find this video useful. If you like my video, then please don't forget to share and subscribe. Bye bye. See you in my next video, which will be on absorption of calcium, vitamins and iron. So please be stay tuned.